Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Lamonica Garrett, and I'm on with your boy Galaxy on Comic-Con Radio.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing in for Comic-Con Radio. Coverage of pop culture events from around the globe. Amazing interviews with celebrities. Daily recaps and reviews of popular television. The Walking Dead. Z Nation. Van Helsing. DC Titans. Flash. The Legends of Tomorrow. Black Lightning. American Horror Story. Green Arrow. Movie reviews. Everything Comic-Con and fandom from around the globe. Comic-Con Radio. Get ready to enter our universe. Let's go.
Everybody, this is Galaxy on Comic-Con Radio. Today we have such an amazing episode full of advice, love, energy, all the great makings of great radio or podcasting. Just everything in this world just lined up perfectly for this episode. We have one of the best guests so far. He's an amazing gentleman. We really dig him a lot. Really cool. But before we get into that and talk to you a little bit more about our special guest today, I want to thank you guys so much, you guys, gals, everybody listening to Comic-Con Radio for supporting us. We have your love and support. That's why we're growing. I know I don't say it enough, or do I say it enough? I don't know, but I just want to tell you guys and gals out there, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is your boy Galaxy. Your support means so much. Thank you for everything, and happy holidays, right? Happy holidays to all of you. And like I said, give us a call. You could always call toll-free 1-800-976-0305. I would love to hear from all of you out there. Let me know what's up, how you doing, how you like our shows, what's going on. You can catch us on social media at Comic-Con Radio, on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else. You can go to our website. That's comiccon-radio.com. And we have a whole bunch of other cool stuff going on. We have our giveaway episode coming up, I think in the next couple of days, where we're going to be announcing what we're giving away, how, what, where, when, and why. So please tune into that. So you guys know earlier this week, yeah, that's how close it is, we had the CW DC crossover, and it's called ElseWorlds. It's an annual thing that the Flash, Supergirl, and the Arrow does every year. This year, it was ultra amazing. They had the all-knowing and almighty Monitor on. And who played the Monitor? It's our special guest today. It was great to watch that show. He was amazing on it. But also, he's been on The Last Ship. He's on Designated Survivor, Transformers. The list goes on, like hundreds of television shows and movies. We have the amazing, cool guy, friend, advisor, straight up guy that speaks how it is. That's how you get him type of guy. That's right. Our big brother, Lamonica Garrett. What's up, Lamonica?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. I was getting a little fluttered there for a second until we got it going on. But you did so amazing on ElseWorlds. We got to give you like 10 rounds of applause.
Oh, thanks, man. You know, you never know. You do the work, and hopefully the fans receive it well, and it seems like it went over pretty good.
It went ultra good. You know, I hope they give you the Monitor character or any other character because you fit the role of superhero. You know what I think they should make you? They should make you the new Green Lantern. That's what I think. You would be perfect for that.
Yeah, David Ramsey, that was my favorite part of the ElseWorlds crossover. That little Easter egg when John Wesley Shipp told him, oh, you're not wearing your ring. So on another Earth 90, he's Green Lantern. Like, I read that in the script, and I yelled out. I think I shot David a text like, yo, it's here. You're Green Lantern. And Green Lantern's my favorite superhero in the comic book. So, yeah, that's kind of cool.
David Ramsey's cool. He's great. You know, he plays the character of Diggle on Arrow. He's amazing. I understand, like, on another Earth, he's going to be Green Lantern. But I think the real Green Lantern, it should be you because you can fit that perfect. You have the looks, the everything for Green Lantern. So I'm hoping everybody, our platform's really huge. So I'm hoping the right people listen to this and they make you the next Green Lantern because you deserve it.
Hey, man, you know, I roll with the punches. But right now, Team Monitor, we're going to ride this wave until it crashes out. So we'll see where this one goes.
Yeah, well, you did amazing with Monitor. ElseWorlds this year was the best out of all the crossover events, and you have something to do with that. How does it feel being on crossovers this year?
It felt good. It felt a little overwhelming to know that every year the crossovers get bigger and bigger, and they're all really good, and they just keep getting better and better. And it's the same team that came back to do this one. And really the only difference was me and a couple of other characters. Ruby came in, and it's like, I don't want to be the one that slows down the machine. You know what I mean? Like, everything else is pretty steady, and they're moving. I don't want to come in and have a bad performance. And it's like, oh yeah, ElseWorlds was great, but it turned out well. It turned out good. The character, he's a mysterious character. I did research on him, but there wasn't a lot of appearances from him in comic book before Crisis on Infinite Earths. He had that mystery to him. You didn't know where he was or what he was doing. He was a weapons dealer doing some things that weren't on the up and up. But when he came out in Crisis, he ended up being the ultimate hero. And that mystery before Crisis was, I think, something the writers wanted to get across, and I think we kept that. Throughout the ElseWorlds crossover, people were like, no, I don't like this Monitor guy. He's a villain. Wait, I think he's good. Wait, no, I don't like him again. No, what's he up to? What's his agenda? So that kind of guessing back and forth is what, I was kind of going for, and it seems like it paid off.
No, it paid off big time. You did really great. So real, true, diehard DC fans know of the Monitor, right? He's been in some comics here and there, but you played it well. I think everything that DC TV does is amazing. You got to look into that. And I tell everyone that I interview with or I talk to, get a gig as a superhero or part of a superhero TV show or movie, because you will be acting for the rest of your life. Because when the shows stop, you got all these conventions, and the conventions are non-stop full of fans. So you put yourself in the right position, man.
Yeah, no, it's this is a whole new world, a whole new genre for me to be in, and the fans are incredible. I'm a comic book fan myself, so I've been watching, like you said, these DC TV shows. I grew up watching the animated, the Super Friends, the Justice League. I grew up watching Marvel Avengers. I've watched all of them, and I've read a lot of comic books. It's fun to be a part of it. There's only a handful of heroes each year that they announce, like new heroes. You'd be surprised how many actors that I know, when one role comes out, half the city is trying to get in on that one role. So to be able to land one, it was kind of, I'm thankful. I thank God every day that he puts me in positions to have opportunities like this.
That's a great opportunity. That's great that you thank God every day, because, even though this is our universe, it's controlled by someone. So there's a true Monitor out there, right? Opening doors for all of us. Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, brother.
You've had a good career. So far, everything's great. You've been on such diverse shows, Designated Survivor, Last Ship, which was one of my all-time favorites. I know we don't cover Last Ship on Comic-Con Radio, but it was one of my all-time, or is still one of my all-time favorite shows. And your character on that was really cool. How did it feel playing that role on Last Ship?
It was a great experience. It was, my brother was in the Navy. My cousin was in the Navy. We would film some stuff down in San Diego at the naval base, and just being around all the real soldiers and being on the real ship, it was a great experience. The whole setup, the cast was amazing. I had fun going to work each day. It was a good group of people. The producers were all warm. Like, they all were really welcoming when I first started working on there. And it was a lot of work. The way they shoot, they block shoot things. So they'll shoot 6 scenes at once facing in this direction. And if you're not ready for that, then you kind of get, chewed up a little bit. But once you're aware of the shooting schedule and the style, then you prepare for it and you show up, you knock it out. There's a couple of writers that were on the Last Ship that are with Arrow now. So I saw them at the Flash 100 party. Jill Blankenship and Ona Lee, they left the Last Ship when it was over, and now they're a part of the producing and writing team over at Arrow. So that was great to see familiar faces. Last Ship was awesome. I had a lot of fun working on that one.
Yeah, it's a wonderful show. It was just on a couple of months ago for its, I believe, 5th season or something like that, and it just came out of nowhere. Everybody thought it wasn't going to come back, but it came back out of the blue, and it was amazing. And they really do well each and every time. On the Last Ship, did you really get to go on ships like that? Was those ships real? They were real Navy ships?
Yeah, we'd go down to San Diego for a weekend and shoot a season's worth of exteriors on the outsides of those ships all weekend. And it was weird because, we'd have our full fatigues on. I was a lieutenant on the show. I would have my lieutenant stripes on, and I'm walking through the naval base, and the lower ranking soldiers would see me walking. You're supposed to salute a higher ranking officer when he approaches you. So people were like, walking, talking on the phone. They would drop the phone, just so they, stand at attention and salute, because I was a lieutenant. And I'm like, no, I'm just an actor. Like, you don't have to, you don't have to salute me. It was, that's how real the experience was. Yeah, those ships are massive. The guns, the 50 cals, those destroyers are unreal. They're the real deal down there. It's humbling being aboard those ships. So at Cobra Studios where we shot, everything was like it was a stage. So you don't get the size of it, the real true nature of how big it is until you step on it. It really hits home. But it was amazing.
It's massive, like a mall, right? As big as a mall or something.
Yeah, it's like the side of a huge building. Like, those ships. Yeah, like you said, it's like a mall. Like it covers like 2 city blocks, the size of it. It's crazy.
That show was amazing. And I always wondered, I'm like, is the Navy in on it? Because you guys made the Navy look so amazing. They were the it thing. They saved the world over and over and with one ship. And that really, I think uplifted, the military. Was the military happy with the show? Did you guys get messages from true seamen and they were like, oh my God, you guys are making us look like pimp?
No, some of the highest ranking officers in the Navy and, down at headquarters, they would correspond with the show. I think when they would write a script, they would have to send it over there to make sure everything was legit. Everything was, making them look in a certain light. The terminology, we'd have our reps that were from the Navy that would be on the show with us. So we had tech advisors, we had reps. They have a big ball in the Navy, either Virginia or DC, like an annual ball that they give awards out at. They just recognize soldiers for, great work that they're doing. And a few times, some of the actors would be their guest of honor at the ceremony. They were all familiar with the show and they had a hand in as far as being legit and as far as getting everything accurate to how the Navy would do it. They were in tandem. They were side by side with it.
That's what I wondered. You're using a brand name. The Navy is like a brand. It's also a part of our military for the United States, and all these things are going on, and they looked so cool. You guys made wanting to be in the military to another level. I bet you so many people signed up afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a kid watching that, you're heroes. You're saving the day. Why wouldn't you go join the Navy after watching The Last Ship? It's heroic. We're just actors playing, real characters or playing real people. Those people, what they really do, I take my hat off to them. You put yourself in harm's way day in and day out. I'm not big on going on ships in the first place. I've never taken a cruise. I can't imagine being in a submarine for 3 months or 5 months at a time, or, some of the Navy soldiers do. That's insane. They go above and beyond, and I respect the hell out of them.
I really like everything that you're saying. You're such a positive guy. I'm a positive person myself. I love positivity. I don't like negativity. And the way you're uplifting every role and giving thanks to everyone, that's really cool of you. And that's why the fans really love you, man. You've played a very disciplined role here. Going from football, you got to be disciplined, right? To get on that caliber, to go to NFL or play high-end college football, you got to be disciplined. Then you played a character on Designated Survivor, Mike Ritter, discipline. You're guarding the president. Then on Last Ship, you're a Lieutenant, Cameron Burke, discipline. You're a straightforward guy. Now you played Monitor, which is discipline. Is that something that is true to your nature? Are you a very disciplined person in real life, and that shows in your characters?
Yeah, I am a disciplined person. My parents were disciplined. I come from a military background. My dad was in Vietnam. Like I said, my brother, he went to the Gulf War, fought. My family members, we come from a disciplined household. And when I was away from home, I was playing football. And with, football and with coaches, that's discipline away from home. So I always had that structure around me. And when I went away to college, it was the same thing. It was that structure of discipline. This is done this way. If you do this, there's repercussions, there's consequences, and you just fall under that umbrella. And it also taught me a work ethic. And I brought that work ethic from playing sports and from playing football to acting and just how I approach it. You ask a lot of questions. You study each character. You never have all the information, but you keep asking questions. And the more you ask questions, the more layers you dig under, and you really get to know who people are. And it's a little harder playing the Monitor because he's a godlike being. He's not an actual person. Like when I did Mike Ritter with Designated Survivor, I researched the heck out of Secret Service agents. You know, when I was doing stuff with the Navy, I researched the position I was in. Tactical Actions Officer, I researched that to death. I talked to as many naval people as I can talk to. I, watched Navy movies. I studied the jargon, the lingo. But it was a little trickier playing a cosmic being with infinite power. But, the discipline is just showing up each day and asking more questions and setting time aside each day to this 6 hours is going straight to character research. And I'd get up in the morning, I'd work out every day, come home, and then 6 hours I'm working, I'm doing my research. I run by a pretty strict regimen, especially when I'm filming something.
When did you want to be an actor? Like, when was it that you said, hey, I want to try this? I know you were trying to go to the NFL. They're like two different big deal situations, right? One's an actor and one's an actual hardcore athlete. When did you think about being an actor?
I was doing plays when I was younger, like school plays. I was in the drama club, when I was younger. I did plays at church. I knew I wanted to act, and I was addicted to television. I was always quoting lines. Like even still to this day, I'm always walking around quoting like random lines from some 80s flick that was in the theater maybe 3 days. Like I just have my memory is weird like that with all these pictures and TV shows that I watched and used to watch and, still watch. But I love playing football as well. And football was right in front of me. Like football was something that I could grab onto, like it seemed attainable. I could go out and see myself getting better and play. I didn't know anything about acting. I didn't know about agents. I didn't know how Hollywood worked. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any other actors, but I knew football players. And even growing up, I met Joe Montana when I was younger, my favorite football player. I met Jerry Rice, another one of my favorite football players growing up in San Francisco. And, you meet them like those are real people. I never met an actor. I didn't know, how to go about it or what even to do. So football was the first love. Let's try that and exhaust all avenues and see how that goes. And then after that was over, I moved back to LA. And it was like, all right, what do I do? I had to get a job. I started, I was a trainer at Bally's for about a year. Then I got a job at Federal Express, and that was the day job, and I was in acting classes at night. So over the years, just, being in class and learning how to act and figuring it out. And I got my shot like in 2008 on One Tree Hill through Slam Ball. And when I came back home, I just doubled down on my acting classes and just took my bumps. Like, you're going on auditions and you're not getting good feedback, but you're learning, like you get thrown to the fire. When I was younger, I used to think only actors came from these prestigious academies, these big acting schools in Australia and like Juilliard or, the ones in the UK. I didn't know that, they had acting classes in Hollywood. Might not be prestigious, but you're still learning how to act. It might just take a little bit longer, but you're learning the craft. And once you embrace that craft and realize what kind of journey you're in for, sky's the limit. I knew I wanted to act. I just didn't know how to go about it.
Was there anybody that helped you along the way or guided you to a direction that you say, hey, that really helped me a lot?
When I moved back to LA, I had friends that got into acting as well, and they started working a bit. I was like, well, you want to pick people's brains. Like, what'd you do? How'd you do it? What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the traps? And they would say, don't do this, try this. I got referred to an acting coach, which a class I'm still in, Carrie Keene, a friend of mine, Keith Robinson. He had worked with her, and he's done a ton of stuff. And I saw how successful he was. And he pointed me in the direction of Carrie Keene, and she kind of changed my whole view of the business and myself and how to turn it on and turn it off and what kind of research to do for characters. Just bringing characters to life starts with you. And all these characters we play are somewhere in us, and we just have to ask the right questions to bring them out. And that was like the biggest thing that happened for me in the business. And another thing was I was going on these auditions, living and dying by each audition. Like, did I get it? No, I didn't get it. Oh, I suck. And that's not the game. Like, you have to go in there and win over the office and just keep doing a good job. Go in there and tell the story. And if they like your version of the story, you're going to get called back in. And that's a win. Whether you get it or not, like, they like what you're doing. So at some point you keep doing you and, the door's going to open for you. But you can't live and die by every audition. Like, did I get it? If the only happiness is getting the audition, then you might get 1 or 2 jobs out of 10. So you're going to be unhappy a lot and disappointed, or you could be grateful that you got a call back, or you could be grateful that, they're bringing you in for another role. that had nothing to do with this role, but they liked what you did, but you're just not right physically. Like, there's so many things that go on to booking a role, like everything, the stars, the moon, everything has to be aligned for you to get one role. And I think that's what people don't seem to understand that's not in the business. They think, actors and movie stars, like, oh, yeah, all this stuff is given to you. Like, no, these people struggle like crazy to get to where they are. And it's a lot of people chasing one piece of candy out here. But when you get one, you got to celebrate it, and celebrate it even when you get close.
I absolutely understand what you're saying. People think it's easy being an actor or actress. It's tough. You got to work your butt off to get there, and then you got to work even harder to maintain because there's just so much going on, right?
Yeah, there's so many people that want your spot. You got to work to get there. And, people, all actors, spoiled actors, you got this money, you got this. Like, you've been broke and you've been sacrificing your whole life, pretty much your whole adult life, sleeping on people's couches. Your buddies are taking a trip to Vegas. You can't afford to go on because you haven't worked in 3 months or whatever, or I got a big audition. I've missed more graduations. I've missed more weddings just from auditions that were really big, appointments that I didn't want to miss. And I didn't get the job, but I was willing to, miss a friend's wedding or a friend's graduation or a nephew's graduation just for the opportunity. Like, you live your whole adult life on call, waiting for that opportunity. And once you're in the door, then things become a little easier, but it's just so hard getting through that door. And once you get in, like you said, you got, a bunch of people breathing down your back. I really believe too, like, if a role has your name on it, that's your role. And so me and my buddies, like, an audition would come out and I'd be like, hey, I'd have a handful of buddies call them up, like, hey, call your agent. They're looking for this type, and we're pretty much in the same category. And if I don't get it, I hope you get it. So he'll go in there, he'll kill it. He got it. Hey, awesome. There's enough for everybody, but you just gotta, you're competing with yourself, not against other people. And that's another thing that I had to learn. That was something that was tough.
That's really cool of you to say that. I don't hear that a lot from people wishing that for others. You basically want all your buddies to grow because you've seen the struggle. You all struggle at the same time, and then once you make it, you deserve that. It's totally understandable. I'm not an actor, but I'm a writer, and I have books and stuff like that. I've been turned down by hundreds of agents and it just happens, and you can't kill yourself for each one. You got to brush it off. And even when you get the role, they might just kill you off in an episode. So
yeah,
it's tough.
It's hard. Like, you can't really celebrate until you've seen the edited cut. You made it. I've been edited out of a couple things that I've done. You see the edited role, you made it, it came out well. And you get the next script. If it's TV, you get the next script and you're not dead. Like, all right, yeah, now we're moving. We're in the right direction. But it's like hurdles you got to get. And like becoming a series regular on a show, you got to, you're auditioning pilot season, and you go and test. And it's between you and one other person now. And you don't get it. So one pilot season, you might have 4 or 5 tests, like studio or network tests. It's between you and one other person. And the other person keeps getting the roles, and you're always that first person to lose. So it's like, damn, okay, finally you do get one, and you got the show. Now you shoot it. Now you hope the show gets picked up, because they make a lot of pilots that you'll never see. But that's the next chapter. So you shoot it, you hope it gets picked up. All right, you're reading the trades, you're hearing from your agent, the show got picked up. But now they might recast you, because, they did the numbers and they had like focus groups come in, and which characters weren't, whatever the case was, didn't go with the rest of the cast. We might just get rid of that character altogether. They might replace you, and that show goes on. Say you make the show, you test well, everything is great. Now the show is premiering, and after 3 episodes, no one likes it. So they pull it after the 3rd or 4th episode. Now you're back to square one. So it's hard to, get fully excited. You can celebrate moments, but if you never have that moment, like, all right, I'm on easy street now. Like, no, you're always looking over your shoulder, like something can come and take this away. So if you stay grateful And if, you have humility, then you change your attitude or how you look at it, and more opportunities keep coming. But I don't take anything for granted.
That's a good way to look at things. You said you're looking over your shoulders. It's nerve-wracking. People see your pictures. You're always smiling. You look gracious. You speak really well. You handle yourself really well. But like you said, only the guy up there knows how you feel inside. And always I tell everyone, hey, first of all, I'm not an agent to help you out. Second of all, I tell them, you're not going to make money till at least second or third season, because the second, third season money is where it's at. And nobody understands. They think you're making millions of dollars from like the first episode, and they don't know, like some guys that are on DC shows right now, and I can't name their names, but they were making like $1,000 till like the fifth season, and it's not all roses, but you guys work hard for us to be entertained.
Yeah. Someone told me back in the day, you're never paid what you're worth. You're either getting less than what you're worth or way more than what you're worth. But you're never paid what you're worth. So a lot of part of your early career is getting less. Like, there's a lot of projects that come around where you're taking less money just to be a part of that project. You're taking less money because there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this project when it comes out in theaters or when it's shown in independent film circuits or whatever. And something comes from that. So it can't just be about the money. It's got to be about the craft, and it's got to be about the work you put into it. At some point, if you become so good at what you do, the money's going to come falling in. It's going to be a byproduct. But the main goal is just to work and to keep working, and the money will be there. So I try. And that was another thing, a hurdle that I had to, get over with myself, knowing that a good part of my early career, I'm going to be broke, because that's not easy. That's not an easy pill to swallow. I've known a bunch of actors that have left acting and got, regular jobs because they had families, and they were tired of sleeping on their buddies' couches. And I get it. These established actors, I read a lot of autobiographies, and the one common thread they would all say, these are like famous actors, that have been there and done that. They all say, just stay in the game. Just stay in it. You'll get your turn. Just stay in it. And if you really believe that, then you stay in it, and, the seas part for you. But it's hard to stay in it when you've got a family and you've got bills and you've got real life responsibilities. So how long do you want to sleep on your buddy's futon is how I say it. That's how long, you can't come out here and give yourself a number like I'm gonna try it for 2 years, and if that doesn't happen, then it's not going to happen in 2 years. It could, but you could win the lottery too. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's don't give yourself, don't put it on a limit, because it doesn't work that way.
You're giving some amazing advice. You can sell this advice to people because the way you look at things is so disciplined. We do some review recap shows of a lot of different hit TV shows in our universe. And when I explain some of these recap reviews, I make people look at it differently. Like, how will that episode help you in your regular life? How will that help you going to college? And people are like, you're looking at these shows so differently. I'm looking at it as real world life. And the way you're giving a picture to everyone is so true and so real. Like right now, what you've been saying, some aspiring actor, actress is going to hear that, and they're going to either be motivated to go all the way or say, hey, I don't know if this is for me because it's a lot of hard work. But what you're saying right now is amazing advice. It's so cool of you to say this. And I think a lot of fans are going to love that. You're going to get a lot of cool feedback from this.
Oh, I'm just speaking the real, man. I'm speaking, my road, my ups and downs, and I've had my fair share, but every actor has their own story. And, but at the end of the day, we're adults playing make-believe and doing what we love to do as kids. And that's how I approach football. Making it to the NFL, I'm sure football turns more business-like than, going out and playing football. But still, at some point, you have to have that, you could be doing a whole lot of other things that you make a fraction of the money and you don't enjoy doing. You're still playing a game that you love to do. You're still, getting in front of a camera and telling stories and entertaining people, whether it's on stage or whether it's the camera. You're storytelling. You're telling people's lives. There's really no other way for me to look at it. I'm grateful. I was working at FedEx for like 3 years, slinging boxes. I'm driving around. It's raining outside. Dogs are chasing me. I got a route. I was delivering in Warner Brothers to like Clint Eastwood, to the set of Friends, to ER, to Everybody Loves Raymond. Like, I'm seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, I want to be over there, but I can't yet. I got to do what, I got to earn my stripes. I got to work my way up. And everyone loves the FedEx guy. I was happy on my route. It was a good route, but then 9/11 happened. And they said no more FedEx trucks on the Warner Brothers lot. So they said all the FedEx has to go to the mailroom. So I just didn't have a route now. So what the management did at FedEx, they gave me some rubber gloves and they had me checking for anthrax at the station. And I'm like, all right, this is my cue. Who do I give my 2 weeks notice to? I didn't move. I didn't come to LA to, be the anthrax checker with these rubber gloves on at the station. So I could be doing a whole lot other things than what I'm doing now. And I've been doing stuff in the past. And I remember how I felt doing it. And it's a good job. It's great benefits, but it just wasn't what I wanted. So I'm doing what I want to do, whether you're getting paid a lot of money or not. That's how you got to look at it.
Did you ever look at maybe doing modeling initially because it's maybe a little bit easier to get into? Everybody probably says you're a good-looking dude. Did you think about doing that first, or you just want to go straight into the acting role?
I did some modeling. I did sports and fitness modeling. Modeling, like high fashion modeling, that's like for smaller people. And I'm a pretty big guy, and there's only so much weight I can lose before I just don't feel healthy or don't feel right. I don't know when the last time I've been under 200 pounds. And I've done some shows where the male models were 160 pounds. They have one size out there. And if you don't fit it, then you're not going on stage. That's just what it was. But I did some fitness modeling. I did some sports stuff for Nike and Adidas and stuff like that. And that kind of helped me get into I was doing commercials before I got into acting. So that kind of, I got my SAG card through doing commercials, network, made some good friends that are directors that did films, independent films that were doing commercials. I really worked my way up through the bottom. That's pretty much I've got my stories. Like I said, everyone's, I'm sure, has their stories, but I didn't have that. You're walking down the street and someone says, hey, I'm doing this multi-million-dollar film. You have a great look. You want to be a part of it. That happens to some people. Not me. I had to go the long route. It makes you a better person for it.
That's what they say happened to Vin Diesel, right?
Yeah, it happened to a couple people. Vin was a bouncer or something.
Yeah.
And Spielberg saw him and then put him in one of his war movies. And, I think Channing Tatum had a story God bless him. You wish that would happen to you, but that's not your route. And you can't move out here thinking that's going to happen to you. Because for the two people we just named, there's thousands of other actors that are in acting class right now and hearing no from their, auditions this week. That's the reality of it. You got to run the marathon. You just don't know when you're going to run the marathon. That's the hard part. You got to train like you're going to run the marathon. And you ask, when am I going to run it? I don't know, maybe 2 years. You got to stay ready. You might run it next week, but it could be 5 years from now. So just stay ready. Always stay ready. And the person you're with, your wife, your husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, they have to get used to that lifestyle as well. You could have a trip planned to Hawaii with your girlfriend, and it's getting closer to the trip. And a day before you're about to fly out, you get a call back from a big producer. They're doing a big film shooting in Morocco, and it's between you and one other person, but they want to see you 2 days from now. You got to come home and tell your girlfriend, hey, can't go to Hawaii. Yeah, I know we've been planning it for 6 months, but this is kind of a big deal. So, sorry. They got to roll with the punches with you. So it's tricky, but you're living on call and but that's what we signed up for, just the business.
And, people might think that's selfish, but I don't think it's selfish. I just think that you've been waiting so long for that particular role, that particular thing that you're wanting that'll help your career go skyrocket. And unfortunately, something else is happening and you got to miss that. A lot of people say, oh my God, my ex was so selfish. I'm like, no, they're not. They just had to do it because they've been waiting for so long and you just have to be patient. But I also get both sides of it. But you just pinpointed such a big reality about everything, and you seem like such a diverse person, and I heard in an interview that your all-time athlete's Bo Jackson, Bo knows everything. Is that the kind of mentality you want? You want to know everything and learn because you research the hell out of every role, the person, the everything. You want to be your best. I hope you get the best roles because these producers and directors, they're getting a prime person with you because you're going to go in there tip top, an amazing situation for them. I hope someone's listening and they're like, hey, this guy wants to know everything about that role, which a lot of times you don't get because I speak to some people and they're like, I don't know nothing about that. I just got lucky. But with you, it's caliber 100 miles per hour.
Well, yeah, you're the one that's on screen. You're the face of whatever it is. If you don't know about it, you don't believe it, no one else is going to believe it. It's, the writers, the producers, the director, whoever's behind the scenes, no one's going to say, oh, the writer did a bad job or the producers, they didn't. No, they're going to look at you because you're not the one that's believable on screen. So you do all the research and all the work that you can do and bring that into the situation, and you put that with the team of everyone. And what if the director tells you something like, yeah, I want you over here for this lighting and this shot? That's up to you to say, well, what's making me move here? I know you want to get your shot, but it's got to be believable because I'm the one on screen and I'm the one that's going to have egg on my face. If it just looked like, oh, the actor just got up and moved to the window instead of the character who was motivated to go there for whatever reason. So we have to work on this together to get me to that window, and that makes it believable in this set of situations. If you haven't done your own research, you really have nothing to go back and forth with the director for when he tells you to do something that might not be something that your character should be doing. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather know more. I'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. A lot of research I do, I never end up using, but I have it, and I'm never thrown off on set. You know what I mean?
Knowledge is power, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. I have it. I might not use it, but it's there. I got it in the toolbox. So when stuff comes up on set, like lighting issues, weather, we might have to change this shot around over here, and now we're doing it here. I visualize it happening here, but now we're over here. All right. I planned for this. I've researched this. I could use this. This scenario is, that part of the research I was doing. Like, you don't like to be thrown on set. I don't. Yeah, Bo is my favorite athlete. Bo was, he was one of my favorite football players and baseball players. He was the man.
Bo knows everything, right?
Bo knows. That was a big dude.
Have you met him?
That was a big dude. No, I never met Bo Jackson.
Well, I hope
Bo was a big dude.
You meet him, and he'll probably be your fan because he's probably seen you on some of these shows, So, crossover, right?
Yeah, no, I've had some of my favorite athletes reach out to me on Twitter, watching some TV shows that I've been a part of, and my bio, I think it says San Francisco, and some 49ers had reached out to me. So that was kind of awesome, kind of surreal. They're watching you, and you're watching them, and you've watched them, and yeah. So, yeah, you never know who's watching.
That's cool. And everything you're saying is such great advice. And I know you do philanthropy, and you're like a big brother, right? In LA, you're part of the Big Brother Project. And these kids are so lucky to have you as a big brother because the way you speak and things you say are so motivating. These kids are so lucky. How does that go? How do you feel when you're a big brother and helping all these kids?
I was blessed to be in a situation where my mother and father stayed together. They were together, so I had both parents in the house. And I got buddies that come from single-parent homes, and their single parents did fantastic jobs. It's not saying, if you have a single parent, it's just you're going to go this way in life. That's completely not the case. But it's just a little easier having both parents there, getting advice from your mother, for this set of circumstances. My dad, I got this problem, I can go to my dad. So I know just, having that man in the house, how it shaped my life. And a lot of, kids, a lot of younger, when I go speak at high schools and when I talk to, middle schools, their father's not around, just having someone to ask questions to, having someone to bounce ideas off, just someone to talk to that can relate to what they're going through and just someone around. A lot of times kids don't want to talk directly to their parents about stuff, but they can talk to someone else, like a therapist or someone like I had my football coach. If I didn't want to come to my parents about stuff, I would talk to my coach. And I think that's a great thing with sports, too. It's that structure outside the home. It's that discipline outside the home. So I always had someone, to get advice from and to keep me out of trouble. And football was another thing that kept me out of trouble. When I had friends that didn't play sports, idle hands are the devil's workshop. If you're just sitting around after school, what can we get into? I don't have to be home for 3 hours. A lot of times it's not going to be good. Or if you have responsibilities, like I got to be up at 7 a.m, I got to get home tonight by 11. We got practice at 7 a.m, so I got to be up for that. And your friends go out and stay out all night and get into trouble. I would have been there if I didn't have practice at 7 a.m. And that comes from the structure of the, coaching and the discipline. So just, big brothering, it's just trying to be helpful and trying to be a shoulder or ear for someone that doesn't have a lot of people to talk to. Anyone that asks me for advice, I pay everything forward. no matter where I'm at. I'm at the gym the other day, and there's a guy that's training in there. He's trying to get into the business and this and that. And he asked me a couple questions. I got his email information down. Something came up where they wanted a basketball player for this movie. No lines, I don't think, but it was a really good basketball player. He's going to be featured in it, and he might get a SAG card from it. I told her, yeah, I know a guy. Don't give that role away yet. And I reached out to the guy at the gym, and I put them two in contact. I don't know what happened from it, but that's the help you wanted when you were coming up. When I was asking people for advice about the business, I'll buy you lunch. I just want to pick your brain for a while. And some of them said yes, and some of them said no. But I always said, once I get to a position where I can help people, I'm going to do as much as I can. And it comes back around.
It does. It really shows a lot. You put that good energy out into the world. That good energy comes back to you. I wanted to ask this of you from like this first moment we started our conversation. If you could be Ritter, Burke, or the Monitor in real life, which one would you choose?
Yeesh. I wouldn't want all the power of the Monitor. That's too much power. And it's got to be lonely. So I'd take the Monitor out. Ritter, it depends who's president, I guess. Because if it's a president that's always going to be in the line of fire, I don't want that job either. So I guess I'd probably go Burke. How often are we at wars? It seems like on the last ship they're at war like every season, every episode, but that's not typical. So I guess I'd spend some time on a U.S. destroyer and be Burke, have a younger brother on the ship, and I'd probably go Burke for those reasons.
It's hard to choose, huh? It's hard to choose because there's such different roles, but they're all, like I said earlier, discipline roles, but they're so different one after the other, and it's hard to choose. But I just wanted to see what you would say in that situation, because I know being the Monitor, you would be able to rewrite anything. If it was anything you could rewrite with the Monitor's powers, what would you rewrite in your life?
In my life?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had ups and downs. I've had things where I wish I didn't have to struggle as much as I did. I had appointments with horrible feedback. Growing up, I think I had a pretty good childhood, but they're little, I broke my arm, I broke bones. I guess I wouldn't have broken. But I think everything that's happened, the adversity that's happened got me to this point. So you can get rid of the adversity in your past, but you'd be a different person today. And I think that hot water brings out the flavor. Like the things that we went through made us who we are today. And I wouldn't change a lot of stuff. Not, looking back at it. Now, if I was somewhere in jail, I'd be like, if I was the Monitor, I wouldn't have went out that night where my friend robbed a bank and I was in the passenger seat, but I made pretty good decisions. For the most part, not all of them, but times I didn't make good decisions. I didn't have to pay for it too crazy. I didn't have to sacrifice too much. I was able to get out of it kind of unscathed, or no lifelong scars from bad decisions I've made. So I don't know what I'd change.
No, I totally understand. It's hard to choose that, right? Because everything that you've done led to this situation and your position.
Yeah, and I like the position I'm in. Like if I didn't like where I was at in life, then I would be like, I'd change this, I'd do that, I'd do that. But I like where I'm at. I wouldn't change a whole lot. I mean, yeah, your adversity is what makes you stronger, not, the ups in life.
So you're taking all the adversity and everything that's happened and you like put that into like this ball and you eat it up and you're like, boom, you grow from there, right?
Yeah, you grow from it. You're stronger from it. You're a stronger person when you come out of a tough situation. And everyone prays like, I don't want to go through adversity. No, pray for the strength to get through it. Everyone's going to have stuff. Everyone's going through something. But if you got the strength to go through it, you're going to be even that much stronger when you get out of it. But yeah, life happens to everybody.
That is true. That is absolutely true. Everything you're saying right now, I'm like listening to it. I'm like, hey, is this a Vice Hour for me too? So it's pretty cool. Hey, man, you're a cool guy. Our team reached out to you. And I want to tell everybody that usually we go through agents and agencies and PR brands, and you got to go back and forth and play that game just to get, it's just the business. Our social media team reached out. They said it was so easy and smooth. And we thank you for that, man. That was really cool of you. Like, the way you're explaining yourself, you are like that in real life. Like, ladies and gentlemen out there in the Comic-Con universe, your boy Galaxy's telling you, Lamonica is exactly of how he speaks. You're a cool dude to the max, 150%. Have you ever used any of your characters in the real world to get into it, like to get off situations or like maybe get something you want? Have you used what you learned in those characters?
I haven't, but what has happened, like I got pulled over. It was a rolling stop sign. Like I didn't stop completely. I got pulled over, and the cop recognized me as a cop on Sons of Anarchy back in the day, and he didn't give me a ticket. So like I didn't use what I learned, but I was able to use my familiarity with him to get out of that ticket. So that was cool. And I was like, I gotta do a better job at the stop signs.
That's funny.
But
that's cool though. That's cool. They recognized you. I remember Sons of Anarchy. What a great show.
Yeah, it's the perks.
It's the perks of being who you are. Like, here's the thing. You have a very distinctive look. You're very recognizable, where there's a lot of actors or actresses that you're like, oh, is this so-and-so or that? But you have your unique look. So when you're on a show or something, people remember you. And when I saw you on DC's crossover, it looked like you from Last Ship and from all your other shows.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's a fun ride. Bringing the Monitor to life. I read Crisis on Infinite Earths when I was younger. I reread it when I got the role. But the significance of him in, that the DC mythology, like, he's a big deal. So I really wanted to get that right. But you just, like I said earlier, you never know. You can do something and you really think you had a peg on them. And comic book fans they know if it's legit or not. Like, they will tell you, like, that's not the right take on it. Either they love you or they hate you. So
Absolutely.
If you do a good job, you'll get embraced. But even when certain people were cast for certain roles, comic fans are like, no, he's not right for that. And then some people win them over. Like, oh, wow, I didn't like him when they casted him, but, after watching him, I love his portrayal. And some people are like, oh, he's great. They cast the right person. And then when they do the work, they're like, yeah, he didn't have the right take on it. They will let you know and let you know fast. So the fact that I'm being embraced by the comic world is it's awesome. It's a good feeling.
We embrace you, man. We embrace you, and we want to keep you in this world. Did you plan for this role? Like, you were like, I need to get this role. It just fell on your lap.
It kind of just fell. Like, that's an easy way of saying it. It's
not in your world, not the way you see things. I know it didn't fall on your lap, but kind of like.
No, yeah. Well, the timing of it fell on my lap.
There you go.
Like I found out my character wasn't coming back on Designated Survivor. Netflix cut like half the cast, and that's just what it was. That's what what I was saying. Like, yeah, just because you're on a show doesn't mean you're going to stay on there. Like, you got to be ready for whatever. So I was bummed out for about a week, and my manager called me, and he got a call from the head of casting, David Rappaport, over at CW, for he does all the shows. And I've been in that office, a dozen times over the years. I've gotten close to stuff, but I've never booked. So when this role came around, it's like, yeah, I told my manager about it. My manager told me what it was, but they didn't say it was the Monitor. And they didn't have the script sides. They had made up audition sides, so they wouldn't give anything away. So I went in there, and the character's name was like Lon-El, powerful Kryptonian. It was 2 scenes with Superman. So I prepared it. I went in there, did a pretty good job. I went in there, the second, third time, and I met with the producers and the writers, and they, I found out I got the job, and I still didn't know who I was playing because, they didn't say. They just said I got the job. So before we're signing contracts, I'm like, well, who am I playing? Is it Val Zod? Is it Black Superman? Is it Calvin Ellis? Is it, this powerful Kryptonian? And my head's going in all these different places. Are they bringing out Darkseid? Is that So when they told me the Monitor, I was like, well, is it Nick Suoten, Super Judge? Which Monitor? Like, what direction are they going? And they told me the Monitor from Crisis, the original Monitor, and I was like, oh, wow. So when I found out it was the original Monitor, the first place I went to was Anti-Monitor, and then I went to Crisis, and they can't be doing Crisis, and sure enough, now that's what they're setting up for. But the timing of it worked great, because if I was still on Designated Survivor, I wouldn't have got this part. And I'm really happy where I'm at right now in this world, and I'm playing the Monitor and just being a part of this experience. Everything happens for a reason. One door closes, another slams open.
That's cool how you got all your research. Like every Monitor, the lingo. So they're probably like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about as well, right? Did they feel that way?
No, we were in the room. I was in the room with the writers, and we were going back and forth about the audition sides and the made-up character. He was bad, but he wasn't. I'm like, so is it, I was throwing around Darkseid references like Orion and, Granny Goodness. Like, is it a son that is with a bad family and he's trying to do good? Is it, I was picking their brains, but throwing them in different situations from different, characters in the comic world. And they're like, oh, wow, so you know your stuff. I'm like, no, I've been reading comics since I was little. We could talk. And they started laughing. And, when I got the part, I was ready to dive in and reading comics and watching more animated cartoons. But that's what I do anyway. So now I'm getting paid for it. That's what it felt like.
I'm really excited to see you at Comic-Con events, any Comic-Con event, whether it's San Diego, New York, or any of the other 100 ones in the United States, because the fans probably give you so much props. Like, you know your thing. And when you know your thing and you play a character that they like die for, you have the golden ticket for the events. Are you excited about that, to be at some events?
Yeah, that's going to, if that happens, that's going to be fun. I'm usually the guy paying. Like, I've been to Comic-Cons, WonderCons, and, but I pay to get in. And I go and I buy my shirts, and I buy my comic books, and I get out of there. If it does happen that way, this will be the first time I'm going on the other side of the podium doing it that way. But yeah, it'll all be a fun experience just being over there. I love all the cosplay and it's a fun environment. It's a bunch of big kids in there celebrating. That's what it feels like.
That's all it is. That's what I tell everyone. That's all the Comic-Con events are at. And now there's, variations of Comic-Con. They're ultimately Comic-Con events, but they call them different things. And there's so many now all over the world. And we go to a lot of them. They call them the main ones, which is San Diego, New York. But all Comic-Con events are amazing. They all draw well. But, we'll talk. We would love to have you at our stuff that's going to be coming up in the next year or so. But we're excited about that. You've played an amazing character. You're speaking positive. You on that show was very different. It felt really good. You played the role well. I think they picked the right person for it. And it just couldn't have been any better. And when I saw the episodes, I get to watch them a little early. We have to keep our mouth shut, And I was like, dang, that's cool. Because I'm a geek about it too. I don't look like a geek about it, but I'm the ultra geek for all this stuff. I love this universe. And I call it our universe. Were you upset when Stan Lee passed away? Because I know you're an ultra geek too, man.
Yeah, that was tough, man. I found out about it, and my wife called me up, and she was like, yeah, Stan Lee passed. I'm like, no, I know he was older, and you can't live forever. But that was someone. I've been to Comic-Cons before where he was there, and I tried to wait in line to meet him. And, the line was long, or I got tired of waiting. I was like, you know what, I'll do it at the next one. I'll meet him at the next one. I kept saying that, and I never had the chance to meet him. He was so significant in so many ways, like it transcended comic books. Like he would take social issues, racism, sexism, like he would take all that, put it into the comic books, and just, change people's perspectives of how they looked at it through comics, through characters, bringing in Black Panther, like, just the whole dynamic of Magneto and Professor X was like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Like those brothers, they both wanted the same thing, but, one went about it this way and one went that way. Like there was so many dynamics from history and our culture and, social issues that he brought to light in comic books and just for entertaining us, making up these characters. Yeah, I mean, that was a hard one. That hit me.
Oh, yeah. When I found out like the second it happened, one of my buddies called and he's like, hey, look, Stan. I was like, oh, my God. It was pretty hard. But, I was lucky enough to meet him multiple times and do some stuff.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of his memorabilia. So, hey, man, if we keep this going, we appreciate you coming out here. I might be able to go into my private vault and send you one of his memorabilia, and that'll probably cheer you up about that.
Oh, man, I'd love that. I would absolutely love that. That'd be awesome.
And now that I'm saying that, you're probably going to get a ton of fans that's going to probably send you stuff too. So that's the thing about our community. They listen, they're cool, and they're loving, man. And you're involved in it now. And, with Last Ship, you're involved in it as well, because Last Ship had all the markings for fandom Comic-Con as well. Like it was an apocalypse. It was like a ship running around. The soldiers were the superheroes. So you kind of played a superhero in every character, right?
The superheroes are all who you look at. Like it depends who you ask. Like if you ask, someone getting saved from a burning building from a fireman, that's superhero. You know, there's heroes, you know, these police officers that are putting their lives in danger, these soldiers going to war, like they're heroes. They're the real life heroes. So we get to play superheroes, but I know the effect that it has on kids and it has on people. Like I looked up to Thor and I looked up to, you know, Batman and Spider-Man and, you know, Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan. I looked up to those guys. They were make-believe, but still, you know, there were heroes. My dad is a hero for me. They're all around us. That's like when someone says, yeah, you know, are you a celebrity? Well, if you ask my mom, she'll tell you I am. She celebrates me. My family thinks I'm, you know, before I even got into acting. Like, yeah, you look like someone famous. Are you a celebrity? Well, ask my family. They'll tell you. Everyone's a celebrity to something. Everyone's celebrated. It depends who you ask.
You put such a cool perspective on everything. Like, I'm going to start saying that. They're going to say, hey, are you a celebrity? I'm like, hey, ask my mom.
Yeah. She'll tell you.
That's really cool of you. Is there anything you want to share with the fans out there? Any new projects, anything in the works?
I have a film I did some stuff on, supporting role. Made it to Sundance, so to be premiering at Sundance next year, 2019, Sundance. It's called Clemency. Starring Alfre Woodard, Aldous Hodge is in it, Robert Schiff. It's a really good film. The script was really well written. Yeah, that's coming out. I got another one coming out with Nicolas Cage. I'm not sure when that'll be out. Sometime next year. It's an action film with Famke Janssen, Kevin Durand, Nicholas, Michael Imperioli, and that was a fun script. We shot that down in Puerto Rico. That's like a throwback action movie. Had a lot of fun doing that one. And yeah, that's it for now. And, you know, back on the audition trail, see what happens.
Back on the road, back on the same cycle, getting new gigs, new things. Do you want to play in a superhero movie or TV show? Is that a big goal for you?
Yeah, growing up, like I always picture myself fighting alongside the superheroes, not being on the opposite side of them, like the Monitor, fighting against them. But yeah, it's a big deal for me in the superhero genre. It's something I could check off the bucket list. I'd love to be in a movie, doing some more with the genre. But, you know, who knows?
Well, you heard it here first. Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If you become a superhero in a movie, we wished it here. And sometimes wishes here come true. I've had some people call me back and be like, hey, I got that role. I got this role. I'm like, yes. The Comic-Con, energy has reached God's ears, and now you're it.
I love it. Yeah, I'm all about that.
I know, man. You're a very positive guy. So you want to give your social media to any of your fans to follow you on Twitter? It's, go ahead, what is it?
Yeah, it's Lamonica Garrett, 2 R's, 2 T's on Twitter, and the same thing, Lamonica Garrett, all one word, 2 R's, 2 T's on Instagram and Facebook as well. There
you go. Well, we said it here first. Lamonica, you are a gentleman. You are very wise. You are very disciplined. You're a very humble person, and you're a very successful actor to all of us. And like I said, you're a celebrity to your family, but you're a celebrity to us too. Everybody loves you out there, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to wrap up with?
No, thanks for bringing me on, brother. I enjoyed the past hour hanging out with you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. So now, Lamonica, I do my outgoing bid. I don't know if you listen to any of the shows, but I do this, okay? I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy with Lamonica Garrett signing out from another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. See you guys, and we blow them 1,000 kisses. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Mwah, to everybody.
Mwah. Yeah. Mwah.
That's cool to get it from him, right? He's like a tough dude, and he's blowing kisses to people. So it's all good. Thank you, guys. It's a wrap. Peace. Love you guys. See you next time.
All right. Take care, brother.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing out from another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. Tune in for your daily shows of Comic-Con Radio. Go to comiccon-radio.com. Reach us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Comic-Con Radio. You can call us toll-free right now. 800-976-0305. 800-976-0305. Comic-Con Radio, taking the world one listener at a time.